Here in problem 2, we clearly have a limiting reactant problem, because as you can see here, you have given amounts of the two reactants, and they are asking you how many liters of water vapor can be made from these amounts. So we said in class that one of the possible procedures we can follow to solve a limiting reactant problem is to calculate the amount of the product you will get from each of the two amounts of reactants, and then the limiting reactant will be the one that produces the smaller amount. So let's do it. First we work with oxygen. We have 5 liters. We transform these 5 liters of oxygen into moles of oxygen, and then we use the mole ratio to know how many moles of water will we get from 5 liters of oxygen. We cancel units, we have moles of water, and it gives 0.446, so we can round it up to 0.45 moles of water that will be produced if the 5 liters of oxygen had enough hydrogen to react. Then I will do the same from the 0.5 grams of hydrogen. I will calculate how many moles of water will be produced. So I have 0.5 grams of hydrogen. I use the molar mass to get the moles. Then I use the mole ratio, and here, even when it is the same number, it is 2 moles of hydrogen and 2 moles of water, it is important for you to write it so you can see what you're doing. If you want to simplify from here, you can also do it, and you can use 1 and 1 is exactly the same ratio. And then let's calculate the moles of water after canceling units. Here you see that from 0.5 grams of hydrogen, if you had enough oxygen to make it react completely, you will get 0.25 moles of water. As this is the smaller amount, the smallest amount of the two amounts of water we have already calculated, that means that hydrogen will be your limiting reactant. It will be the one that will stop the reaction when it reaches 0.25 moles of water. Now, as they are asking for liters of water, we can just multiply the moles by the molar volume. 1 mole of water vapor, remember that we are working with gases, is 22.4 liters of water, and we will have 5.6 liters of water that will be produced using completely the 0.5 grams of hydrogen, and we will have some amount of oxygen left, because oxygen will be considered the excess reactant. But we will calculate this in part B of this problem. Another possible way to determine who is the limiting reactant is to make kind of a cross calculation of how many hydrogen will I need for the 5 liters of oxygen, how many oxygen will I need for the 0.5 grams of hydrogen. So let's do it here. I will start again with the 5 liters of oxygen. But in order to compare with the amount of hydrogen I have, I need to calculate how many grams of hydrogen I need for this amount. So first I transform liters into moles. 22.4 liters of oxygen are 1 mole of oxygen. Then I use the mole ratio to get the moles of hydrogen. I know that 1 mole of oxygen requires 2 moles of hydrogen. And then, using the molar mass of hydrogen, 1 mole of hydrogen that is 2 grams of hydrogen. Now I have the amount of hydrogen in grams, because I need grams of hydrogen, that will react completely with this 5 liters of oxygen. I cancel units here, and then I will have 5 divided by 22.4 times 2 and times 2 again. So what I get from here is that 5 liters of oxygen will need 0.89 grams of hydrogen to react quickly. Here you can see directly that you don't have enough hydrogen. You only have 0.5 grams and you need 0.89 grams. But let's do the other calculation to know how much oxygen is used. So now I start with the 0.5 grams of hydrogen, and I need to transform them into liters of oxygen to be able to compare with the amount I have. So I transform first the grams into moles. I have 2 grams of hydrogen, that is 1 mole. Then I use the mole ratio, but it will be upside down, so I can cancel the units I need to cancel, that in this case is moles of hydrogen. No, here we have 2 moles of hydrogen, is the mole ratio. 2 moles of hydrogen that require 1 mole of oxygen. And then, as the initial amount of oxygen I have is in liters, I need liters here. So I use the molar volume. 1 mole of O2 is 22.4 liters of O2. We cancel units here. Grams, moles, 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 moles. And then I have liters of oxygen. So it will be 0.5 divided by 2, divided by 2 again, and times 22.4. That will give you that you need 2.8 liters of oxygen to react with the 0.5 grams of hydrogen. So again, it's clear. You need 2.8 liters and you have 5. So you have more than enough oxygen to react completely with the 0.5 grams of hydrogen. If we do the opposite, we need 0.89 grams of hydrogen to react with the 5 liters of oxygen, and you only have 0.5. So this indicates again that hydrogen is the limiting reactant. And all the calculations you will do with this problem from here on should be done starting with the 0.5 grams of hydrogen. Now let's go to part B to calculate how many grams, how many grams of the excess reactant that we already know is oxygen will be left.